This conference will now be recorded. This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this session. We can wait for next couple of minutes, then we can start. Yamini madam, please let me know when we can start the session. You are muted.
So, hello, so we can start our program at 6:05. So,
Fine. Okay. Cool. So good evening, everyone. We are going to start the session by next few minutes. So kindly mute yourself, and the participants can write questions in the chat box. participants, please put yourself in mute mode, and also you can write your questions in the chat box. The faculty can clarify in due course.
Sir, we can start, sir.
Okay, thank you, Yamini Madam. So good evening, everyone. I am from PMC Global Systems and Future Connect. My name is Salagiri. I am one of the co-founder, and I have my colleague Ravi Radhakrishnan also on this call. So we are leading Industry 4.0 system integrator from India. The moment you talk about system integrator, then you're talking about multiple technologies. Okay. So you're talking about almost 9 to 10 different technologies easily as part of Industry 4.0 ecosystem. So having said that, we are in the I4.0 project execution for last 4 years, and we have very good partner network from India as well as foreign countries. So we do have end-to-end capabilities starting from IoT, 3D printing, augmented reality, virtual reality, robotic process automation, whatnot, right? So, yeah. So these are all our couple of clients. We did project from last few years. It is only indicated list, not the complete list. And a few important clients are, we did IoT solution for Lucas TVS, a leading company from Chennai. They're Deming Award company. And also for BHEL Trichy. And we are going to implement augmented reality, virtual reality for maintenance activities. And for Kane, a leading energy production company from India, we did robotic process automation implementation. And for Siemens, we did world-class SharePoint system. Having said that, we are doing projects for both Indian clients as well as foreign clients for last 4 years. Yeah, so the moment you talk about Industry 4.0, it became a global movement. In fact, no one noticed the traction Industry 4.0 got from the world, people and world governments. No other concept, gained from the modern history. We see that all governments, not only Indian government, all governments, they started the national policy for Industry 4.0. We see the Brazilian companies, governments, they have their own Industry 4.0 mechanism. And Indian government in 2016, we launched a national Industry 4.0 policy, and we are encouraging all Indian companies to go for I4.0 momentum. Yeah. And in different countries, it is called in different word, but end of the day, the essence is same. Yeah. We talk about, Sweden, it is production 2030, and Spain, Industria Connecta, and for Europe, it is factories of future. Having said that, the Industry 4.0 is going to rule the world for next 20, 30 years. Okay, so it is going to diminish the silver line between one industry to another industry. Can you able to hear my voice, everyone? Yamini madam?
Yeah, it's
You're
loud and
audible.
clear.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
fantastic. Okay, thank you. Yeah. So this is the diagram I put for a reference purpose, and it got 9 technologies. In fact, it's an evolving one. Every year, new technology is getting added. In fact, you couldn't find a blockchain. It is part of I4.0, and we are talking about Internet of People. Probably next year it will become a reality. Then it is part of I4.0 ecosystem. Having said that, it is continuously evolving on a yearly basis. And the moment we talk about our company is system integrator for I4.0, we got capability for from an end-to-end perspective. Having said that, we are developing I4.0 product for MSME sector, micro, small, medium industry sector, and also we are doing I4.0 projects for last 4 years for Indian as well as foreign clients, and we do have very unique assessment mechanism. Any company want to go for I4.0, we are doing a scientific assessment, and we are going to categorize companies into multiple maturity level, maturity 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And any company want to move from one maturity to another maturity, we are offering even the strategy intent, how to achieve that one, right? And finally, we want to focus a lot about I4.0 competency building, because even our own clients, they are looking for skilled resource from the market, but they couldn't. The skilled means the skilled IoT or skilled artificial intelligence, not only to the particular technology perspective. And in fact, our clients want to onboard people who knows end-to-end I4.0 spectrum as well as deep knowledge about a particular technology. Yeah. And to fulfill the industry requirement, the Future Connect is one of our brand name, and we are doing for last few months in serious mode. And we are developing IoT, cloud, machine learning combinations of a solution for MSME sector, and also we are developing blockchain as well as cloud solution for MSME sector. In terms of consulting, we did a lot of projects. For example, RFID asset tracking, robotic process automation, augmented reality, virtual reality, 3D printing, and these are all turnkey projects. We used to take project and execute within a couple of months. And also for a couple of clients, both from India as well as foreign, we are working with them as a strategic partner, right? For next to 5 years, what they will do, and we are offering end-to-end assistance to them. And I talked about assessment and auditing. It is a patented one. We filed the patent for the same. And come to this I4.0. In fact, we are talking with a couple of universities to offer as a minor program. The university will offer the major program, and we are going to offer the minor program. Yeah. And for autonomous institutions, they want to launch elective courses on I4.0. For example, Shastra we are talking about. And for a lot of colleges, they show interest because they want to enhance the employment opportunity for budding students. And we are working with many colleges. Also for working professionals. Yeah. So anyone working for manufacturing or health sector, they want to get into I4.0, and we are there to help you. And corporates is the main customer segment. And finally, faculty development programs. Okay. And today we are going to talk about Future Connect and our service offerings from education sector. To talk about I4.0 training program, this is our signature delivery model. We call it a STEA model. The very first time introduced in India by any company for the sake of argument. What is special in this STEA model? Because if you see this top portion, you could easily find out 9 different technologies, starting from smart manufacturing, artificial intelligence, cloud, IoT, right? See, the candidates will go through 10 sessions for each and every technology. So having said that, they are going to complete 90 hours training program to get a decent understanding about end-to-end ecosystem, and they are going to get the certificate. The certificate is not only given by Future Connect, it is going to be accredited by a deemed university from India like Crescent University. Yeah, well-known and prestigious university. And during that fundamental course, we are going to assess student capability or candidates capability. Based on their capability, they are going to get into any one of these technology for 40 hours. So they will able to gain end-to-end overall knowledge, also deep knowledge about one particular technology. And once they complete this detailed course, they are going to get another certification. And the candidates can come to Chennai and they can complete a capstone project from Crescent University campus. So we have agreement with them, right? And in fact, students will get the intern opportunity or intern certification once they complete the capstone project. Okay, and very importantly, in fact, a couple of our own clients shown interest. They seen this course, they are really enthused, and they said that anyone complete this course and meets your evaluation criteria, and we want to interview them. Having said that, there will be 100% placement assistance, or there will be placement window available for anyone complete this course. But how to crack the interview is up to the candidate's capability, and definitely we are going to help them in all aspects. And the unique propositions, it is India's first I4.0 program touching upon all technological components. And accreditation from Crescent University, so the certification got a lot of value when you go to the market, right? And also 90% of the entire course delivery is going to be done by the industry professional with international experience, also from good faculty from good higher education institution. And this is a 6 months course. We are offering a weekend as well as weekday. Weekend means it will go around 5.5 months to 6 months, and weekdays it will be around 2.5 to 3 months. Okay, and the entire program is going to be launched by through learning management system. So you are going to enjoy the world-class digital learning from our side, right? So I would request all of you to go to our website futureconnect.net and try to get more information, register for this course. Okay. And this is our advisory board, and every quarter we are connecting with industry people to get that input on how to modify the content to make more industry relevant. All right. And these are all our couple of sample faculties, and most of them are PhD holders, and they are in the industry for quite a long time. and they are expert by their own field. Today session is going to talk about data science and artificial intelligence, and the integral or essential component for the entire industry 4.0 ecosystem. And we have a very competent faculty, Dr. N. Sarita, and she's going to deliver this session. And over to you, Yamini madam. Please give the introduction about Dr. Sarita, and Sarita can start the session. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Very good evening to one and all. Dr. N. Sarita started her career as lecturer in Jerusalem College of Engineering in the year of 2005. Now she is working as an associate professor and completed PhD in College of Engineering, Anna University at 2017, and also acting as a research supervisor for PhD students. Currently, she is guiding UG and PG scholars in the area of machine learning and Python. Embedded system, IoT, machine learning, and data science. She's her area of interest. Thank you. Now, Sarita ma'am will take over the session.
Madam, I enabled you as a presenter. You can start sharing your screen.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Madam, you can unmute yourself. We couldn't hear your voice, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, your minimum. Good evening to one and all present here. First of all, I would like to convey my sincere thanks to Alagiri sir, Mr. Ravi Shankar sir from Future Connect for giving me this wonderful opportunity. So in this webinar, we are going to discuss about artificial intelligence, what is data science, and what is machine learning. And this is my agenda today, today's agenda. So what is the concept of artificial intelligence? Next, we are going to have a brief introduction about data science and what is machine learning and what are all the different machine learning algorithms currently we are using. And finally, I'm going to explain some example programs also. It will be really useful for you. And in the last slide, I am going to explain about Jupyter Notebook, because this Jupyter Notebook is the really very important one. Because with the help of this Jupyter Notebook, you are going to type any machine learning program. So these are all the important points we are going to discuss here. So first, let me introduce about artificial intelligence. And before entering artificial intelligence, we can see what is meant by intelligence. Okay, we all are familiar with this. Generally, intelligence means human intelligence means it is our mental quality. Okay, so if you are having any new problem, first we have to analyze the problem. First, we have to try to solve this problem, and next we have to identify what are all the solution methodologies to solve this particular problem. We have to learn or we have to adapt to new environment. Okay, so this is our human intelligence. So similarly, artificial intelligence in this sense, we are trying our computer system or we are trying our any machine to act like the human intelligence. Okay, so we are trying to make any computer or machine to act like human being. So whatever the intelligence power we have, the same intelligence power can be built by machine also. So your machine can automatically learn, and it can automatically solve the problem. And for future prediction, for any forecasting, this artificial intelligence will be highly useful. Here we can see some example also, speech recognition.
Dr. Sarita, madam, kind request, can you please put it in presentation mode, the PPT?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yes.
Sure. On the bottom, you can see.
Yes, sir.
Sure, madam. At the bottom, you can see the button.
Madam, just press Shift and F5.
Okay.
Shift F5. Hold Shift key, press F5.
Okay, sir.
Or at the bottom, you can see the small third button, madam.
Yes, sir. Is this working, sir?
No, it's still the same.
Yes, sir.
Now, what you need to do is, can you press F5, function 5?
Yes, sir.
F5, yeah. That will bring up the,
I am pressing F5, sir.
okay, I think there are some, okay, no problem. Just maximize it and go ahead. I don't know. Or you can minimize your background, like your WhatsApp and stuff, and then you maximize. Yes, maybe this is
Now-
much okay. That's much okay. Okay, please go ahead. Right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we know that what is meant by artificial intelligence. One second. So next we can see what are all the various principles of this artificial intelligence. So here main thing is reasoning and knowledge, because from the past experience only your artificial intelligence machine can able to take the decision. And planning is very important. Learning, because whenever a new problem is given to your machine will adapt to new technology so that it can learn automatically. And communication, and next one, perception and the ability to move and manipulate with the objects. And here one important thing we have to know, this artificial intelligence, machine learning and deep learning all are interconnected one, because this machine learning is the subset of artificial intelligence, and again this deep learning is the subset of machine learning. So in later slides I am going to explain what is meant by machine learning and what is deep learning. Now we can see various examples of artificial intelligence. Nowadays all are aware of that this Sophia, and this is social humanoid robot. This was developed by Hong Kong based company Hanson Robotics, and this was first appeared in the year of 2016. And the Sophia has reached more than 65 countries. So this is very good example of artificial intelligence. In day-to-day life, we are having more examples related to this artificial intelligence and machine learning. So first example is daily we are booking Uber and Ola cabs to reach the particular destination. So whenever we are booking Uber cab, we have some messages. So within 2 minutes, your cab driver will be there. Within 10 minutes, your cab driver will be there. And this is your price of your ride. And within 30 minutes, you can go to the particular destination. You can reach the destination. So this is the best example of artificial intelligence and machine learning. So entire thing was already stored in the machine. Based on that past experience, your machine can learn the new thing. And next example, very good example for email. Very good example for AI and ML, that is email. So whenever we are opening our inbox, we are having only some wanted messages, original messages. Suppose if the message is unwanted message or not original message, it will be automatically transferred to spam folder. So this email categorization is also one of the very good example. And next in plagiarism checker. So in some of the high school and colleges, they are having very good plagiarism checkers, Turnitin, duplicate checker, and this copy leaks. So these are all the very good examples. So what they are doing is we can consider this Turnitin plagiarism checker. Okay. So whenever we are submitting new assignment, this Turnitin software will compare our new assignment and already available resources in internet. Okay. So if both are same, it says that you are having 100% plagiarism, and if you are having some deviation, you are having some 50% plagiarism. Okay. So this comparison is really very important. So what they are doing is your plagiarism checker will compare your new assignment with already original data. So this is also very good example. And we have robo readers also. Next, fraud prevention. Okay, so this is very good example for machine learning nowadays. Whenever we are taking any financial loan or personal loan from any financial institution, and next month I am transferring some amount as EMI. So whenever I am transferring EMI amount, it will check whether my transaction is original or it is fraudulent. So this can be done by machine learning and artificial intelligence. So they have large training data, and based on that past experience and based on that customer characters, they will identify which one is fraudulent transaction and which one is original transaction. Next, credit decision. This is also one of the important example. So when we are applying any home loan to any bank or financial institution, they will check this person is eligible customer and this person is not eligible customer. So this automatic checking was done by artificial intelligence only. Based on that, we have to write down the program. Next, very good familiar examples, we have social networking. So whenever I am uploading any new photo to Facebook, it automatically suggests these are your friends, so you have to transfer your photo to these friends. So automatically it can do what are all the important highlights, what are all the important friends to tag, and Pinterest, Instagram. So these are all the very good example. And smart personal assistants. So we can consider Siri. This is voice assistant by Apple phone. So with the help of the Siri, we can set any reminder, or we can integrate this Siri with your calendar. And if you are considering Google Nest, if you are asking any general knowledge question or any subject oriented question, immediately it can provide answer. So these are all the very good example for AI and ML. And we are having Alexa also. This was done by Amazon. So we can interconnect some smart devices, your Android TV and Vibro bulb. So you can integrate all smart devices with Alexa. So if you want to turn off the TV or if you want to turn off the particular bulb, your Alexa can do this particular job. And mobile use, voice to text. For example, if you are saying, okay, Google, it will ask, what do you want? How may I assist you? So this is voice to text, and this is also important application based on AI and ML. And these are another applications. When we are working with Microsoft OS, we have Cortana. So your Cortana will ask whether I want to copy this file or whether I want to delete this file. And next we can consider Netflix. Okay, so today I am watching one movie. Next, tomorrow when I am looking on this Netflix app, well, some important movies related to my previous day, everything will be in display list. Pandora, this is music related app, Google Nest. So these are all the everyday app we are having with the help of AI and ML. Next, we can see how does this AI work. So this AI can work by so now we can see how this AI work. So generally we have to upload large amount of data. Your data consists of some 1,000 rows or 2,000 rows, even it consists of 10,000 rows also. So based on this previous data, it can learn itself, and based on their learning, it can automatically detect the pattern, or it can be used for forecasting and future detection purpose. Now we can see what are the various subfields of artificial intelligence. So we know that artificial intelligence is mainly used for forecasting and future prediction. This machine learning is subset of artificial intelligence. So with the help of mathematical problems, equations, and knowledge of statistics, your machine learning can also be used for forecasting, and even it can be used for used in healthcare industry also. And deep learning is again subset of machine learning. So it consists of more number of neural networks. It is acting like our human brain. Our human brain consists of around 86 billions of neurons. So it is working based on neural networks. So with the help of more layers, it can convert any image into speech or speech into image. Even if you are giving any handwriting images, that will be converted into systematic images. And if you are having any silent movie, if you want to add suitable audio files and suitable multimedia file, we can do that with the help of deep learning. So now we can see what is meant by machine learning. So machine learning is the process of teaching a computer or machine to make accurate predictions. Okay, so we are making our computer or machine to automatically learn. From that learning, it can predict any new data, or it can check whether this particular student is pass or whether this particular student is fail, and what is the grade awarded for this particular student. So before that, we have to apply some input data. That input data is known as training data. From the training data, your machine learning model can understand what is the grade awarded for this particular student. For example, nowadays in this year 2020, we are mostly suffered by COVID-19 virus. So we can predict what are all the areas in India, in Chennai, what are all the areas which will be mostly affected by this COVID-19 virus, okay, with the help of this machine learning algorithm. So before that, we have to apply past 9-month data. From March month to this November month data, we have to apply as the training data. So from the training data, your machine learning model can understand and it can learn by itself. Based on that, it can take prediction. So these are all the areas that will be mostly affected by this COVID-19 virus. Okay, so this machine learning algorithm is mainly used for healthcare industry for prediction as well as for future forecasting purpose. Next, we can see what is meant by deep learning. Already I told you, deep learning is again a subset of machine learning. Machine learning is the subset of artificial intelligence. So this deep learning is the computer software that mimics the network of human brain, because whenever we are asking some question, our brain think, okay, based on that past experience and based on that previous assumption only, we are trying to give some answers. So the same job is done by deep learning concept also. So it makes use of deep neural networks. The machine uses different layers to learn from the data. Basically, we are using 3 layers: input layer, hidden layer, and output layers. And based on the complexity of application and complexity of program, we can go for more number of layers. Okay. So if you are using more number of layers, we can produce accurate results. And here we can see some very good examples: self-driven cars, and colorization of black and white images, sound addition to silent films, handwriting letters can be converted into systematic letters, and we can read lip movements also. Okay, with the help of this deep learning, your lip movements can be converted into images or text. And one of the very good popular application is chatbot. Now we can see what is meant by data science. So this is the basic introduction about artificial intelligence, and this data science is a very important field in computer science, and this data science is going to provide n number of jobs in future. So now we can explain what is meant by data science: the combination of programming skill, the particular domain knowledge, and knowledge of mathematics and statistics, that is known as data science. So basically, data science is used to extract some useful knowledge and useful insight from many structured and unstructured data. So we are the programmer and we are the user. So we have to apply structured data or unstructured data. If you are providing unstructured data, that will be converted into structured data by machine itself. From the structured data, your machine tries to learn the model. Okay, first it tries to learn the model. From the learning, it can identify some useful information. Your information will be converted into some prediction or for estimation. So the combination of domain expertise, programming skills, knowledge of maths is known as data science. Domain expertise in the sense, suppose if you want to use this application or deep learning for healthcare industry, so you should have some knowledge about what are all the symptoms of this particular malaria or particular disease. Okay, that domain expertise you should have. And programming skill, you should be familiar with Python and Julia also, because data science can be implemented by 3 important languages: Python, R, and Julia. And popularly we are using Python because Python is having so many advantages. Python is having very simple syntax, easy to use, and it is user friendly. And one more important thing, we are having some important libraries in Python. Okay, so it is not tough as C, C++, and Java. This Python is very good and easy programming language. And also we should have some idea about mathematical equation. For example, what is the equation for straight line, and what is the formula for entropy, formula for minimum, that is MSE, okay, mean, average. So this mathematical knowledge also we should have, and we should have some statistics also. So based on all these things, we can implement any data science related program. And this is the data science pipelining process. So our first important step is we have to gather the data. For example, if I want to use this data science application in healthcare industry, I have to gather the data from various hospitals. Who are all the patients, those who are affected by COVID-19 virus. So I have to collect n number of data from various hospitals. Next, this data is known as raw data. Okay, this raw data will be converted into structured data. That is known as the next process. And also we have to perform data cleaning. Data cleaning in the sense, for example, we can consider I am having one CSV file, comma separated value file. Okay. First, we have to collect the data from various hospitals, and that must be stored in Excel sheet. That Excel file must be converted into CSV file, comma separated value file. Now we have to do data cleaning. Data cleaning in the sense, if you are having any irrelevant data, or if you are having any duplicated data or improper data, all these data must be deleted. Okay, we have to delete all these data, or we can modify, we can replace these data with new data. This is known as data cleaning. So this data cleaning process is very important so that we can get the structured data. Now we can visualize the data with the help of scatter plot or a histogram plot or pie chart. Okay, so that we can understand last month what is about COVID-19 process into December 2020. How many people are affected by this COVID-19 virus? In next January 2021, what are all the areas which will be affected by COVID-19 and what are all the safest area? So this prediction can be done with the help of this data science. And next we have to modeling the data. So modeling data means we have to create the new data model, because in this like database, because in this database only I'm going to store my structured data, and finally we can interpret the, or we can use it for future forecasting. And again, we have to check the new arrival of data. For example, if there is any new arrival of data in today's date, December 12th, but we have done our job up to December 11th. So what are all the data we have obtained in December 12th? So that is we have to gather. So revisiting the pipeline for fresh data. So every day we have to update the data also. So these are all the various processes happened in data science. And Python is very good language, programming language used for data science. And Python is widely used in scientific and research communities because it is having very simple syntax. And mainly, if you want to implement any machine learning program, this Python is very good choice. And if you want to introduce any fraud detection algorithm, and if you want to implement any network security, we can go for this Python programming. And mainly this NLP, natural language processing. Python is familiar language, and we can use it for sentiment analysis also. How many likes and how many dislikes are there? When we are posting any new Twitter message, how many likes and how many dislikes are there? Based on that, we can come to particular conclusion. This message is really useful and this message is really unuseful. So we can use it for sentimental analysis, and we can use it for healthcare industry. We can use it for car manufacturing industry also. In case of car manufacturing industry, it can be used for predicting carbon dioxide emission. Okay, because whenever we are purchasing, we will be concentrating only on the price, on-road price and off-road price, and also what is the showroom price and what are all the engine size, engine capacity. So these are all the factors considered by ourselves, and we don't consider about carbon dioxide emission, but this carbon dioxide emission also must be considered. This carbon dioxide emission can be estimated with the help of this machine learning, and we have to use Python. Okay, and one more important advantage of Python is your Python is having large collection of libraries. Now let me explain what are all the important libraries available in Python. NumPy. This NumPy stands for numerical Python. So most of the mathematical functions are available in this NumPy library. For example, if you want to get any sine function, sine theta, cos theta, or if you want to convert the given data, or if you want to calculate mean, average, minimum that MSV value, okay, entropy value. So each and everything can be calculated with the help of NumPy. Already functions are available in NumPy. Only our important job is we have to import. Okay, we have to import NumPy from Python library. So in later slide, I will tell you what is the command which is used for importing NumPy. And it provides various method function for array. If you want to deal one-dimensional array, two-dimensional array, or if you want to implement multi-dimensional array, you can go for this NumPy. And matrix, linear algebra. So this is mainly used for mathematical functions. And this is very, very important library available in Python, because based on this library functions only, we are going to implement machine learning program, pandas. So if you want to analyze large data set, consider your CSV file, and your CSV file consists of some 1,000 rows or 10,000 rows and 100 columns. Okay, so this is a complicated process. Okay, so with the help of human resource, we cannot easily analyze this data and we cannot easily manipulate this data. So this Panda is most popular Python library for data manipulation and analysis, and it can provide useful functions to manipulate large amount of structured data. Okay, and if you want to see only first 5 rows, or if I want to see last 5 rows, we can go for this Panda command. And if you want to select the particular column from the structured data, I can use this Panda command. So here we have two data structures in Pandas, because without knowledge of Pandas and NumPy, we cannot implement any machine learning program. That's why these slides are highly important to you. Series, so it handle and store data in one-dimensional array only. And if you want to implement the program in two-dimensional array, we have to go for data frame. Shortly, it is called as DF. So these are all some sample codes using Pandas. So whenever we are implementing machine learning program for future forecasting of COVID-19, and if you want to estimate the carbon dioxide emission of the particular car, we can go for this machine learning. So our important first command is we have to import these libraries from Python. So important command is import NumPy as NP. This NP is short form of NumPy. Import pandas as PD. This PD is also short form of pandas. Next, if you want to read your CSV file, already your CSV file is stored in your desktop computer or your laptop or any location. So first of all, we have to read our CSV file, comma separated value file. So these are all the commands which are used for reading your CSV file. Import pandas as PD. DF equal to PD dot read underscore CSV. Here DF means data frame. Okay, so then only your data will be converted into multi-dimensional array. PD Panda, shortly called as PD. PD dot read, because we are going to read our CSV file, so we have to type read. Okay, and a social network add. This is my file name. Whatever the file name we want to give, you can use it. Social network add dot CSV, because each and every CSV file is stored with the extension of .csv. Separate with the help of comma, because CSV means comma separated value file. So separate with comma. Okay. So after closing the bracket, we have to give df. So then only your data frame will be displayed. And here, according to my social network add file, I have 400 rows. And your first row is named as 0 and last row is named as 399. So we can view the row from 0 to 399. And here I am having only 5 columns. So each and every data will be converted into structured data. This is known as structured data. Okay. So your pandas is really important for data analyzing and data manipulation. And if you want to convert unstructured data into structured data, you have to use these commands. This is also df.head. Here you can see df equal to pd dot read underscore csv fuel consumption CO2 dot csv. This fuel consumption CO2 is my file name. Okay, because I'm going to use this machine learning program for CO2 estimation. Okay, in 2021, if particular car is in market, what is the CO2 emission by the particular car. So machine learning is mainly used for future forecasting or prediction. So here we have to use df dot head of. Okay, open the bracket and close the bracket. So if you are using df dot head of, we can view first 5 rows. Okay, and if I am putting df dot tail of, I can view last 5 rows. Here my fuel consumption CO2 file consists of 1067 rows. This is very huge data set. So this huge data set can be processed by only Panda. Okay, without knowing Panda command, we cannot do any machine learning program. So if I am giving df dot tail of command, we can view the last 5 rows. So these are all some basic commands related to Panda. And we can see NumPy also. So NumPy is general purpose array processing package. Okay, so if you want to implement some multi-dimensional array, 2-dimensional array, and if you want to introduce some mathematical oriented function, you have to import this NumPy. So this is powerful n-dimensional array object. And even we can add C and C++ code with the help of Python also. So it is useful for linear algebra. If you are having a plus b the whole squared formula, you no need to write down the program for calculating a plus b the whole squared. This function will be automatically solved by this NumPy command. Okay, even we can solve Fourier transform or random number capabilities. From number 1 to 10, we can generate any random numbers with the help of this NumPy. And if you want to generate any random password, we can go for this NumPy commands. And these are all some basic commands. My first array, this is your choice. You can give any name here. My first array equal to np dot array of some 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Any numbers you can give. So it will be converted in the form of array. Okay, np dot array. This is the syntax we have to use. So after closing the bracket, we have to give my first array. So this is your output, array of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next, we can find out the length of array also, because NumPy is mainly used for handling array-oriented commands. So length of my first array, you have to use only len. So length of my array is only 5, because I am using only 5 elements. So your output is 5. Okay. And similarly, we can find out maximum value, minimum value with the help of NumPy command, np dot maximum of, np dot minimum of. Okay, so this knowledge of NumPy, Panda, and data visualization. Okay, so that knowledge is highly important for implementing machine learning program. And this is also one important library available in Python, matplotlib. Because in data science, our main job is to get the useful information from structured data. Okay, useful information in this sense, we have to give the output in terms of bar graph or histogram or scatter plot. For example, if you are considering any company, in last year, what is the profit of that particular company? In this 2020, what is the particular profit of company? In next year, what is the estimated profit of the particular company? So this can be done by only this matplotlib. So for that particular job, we can go for bar graph. So we have to get the idea about this matplotlib. This is another useful Python library for data visualization. You can visualize any kind of data in terms of line graphs, pie chart, histogram, and scatter plot. And the second diagram is COVID-19 death by country. So country-wise, they are giving COVID-19 deaths. So now we can get some deep idea about machine learning. So already we have explained what is meant by machine learning. So this is the capability to learn without being explicitly programmed. Okay, so we are making our computer or machine to make the decision automatically or to learn the particular situation automatically without any external program. So we don't need to apply any external program. The machine itself can understand the situation. That is, the machine itself can understand the data set. From the data set and from the past experience, your machine can take decision automatically, okay, without any human intervention. This is machine learning. So your machine can automatically learn by itself, okay. So we know that machine learning is the type of artificial intelligence It can automatically learn the data. It can automatically get the idea from the data set. So when new problem arises, how we have to solve the problem and what is the solution for this particular problem, everything can be automatically done by your machine learning. So first step is we have to apply training data, okay, the large volume of training set. And one more thing here you have to consider, whenever our number of rows, or if you are collecting large volume of data, we can produce 90% accuracy. Okay, so if you are applying only low volume of data, for example, if your CSV file consists of some 10 rows or 20 rows, you cannot expect more accuracy. Okay, so always we have to try to apply more number of data, large volume of data. So first step, we have to apply training data. From the training data, your machine can learn itself, okay, so that it can build the model by itself. We no need to provide any model, or we no need to provide any external program. It can build the suitable model by itself, and then it can perform the particular task. And also we have to apply feedback. Based on the feedback, your machine can automatically improve by itself. For example, if accuracy is 75% only, next time it tries to make 90% accuracy. Okay, so with the help of feedback and with the help of programmer commands, your machine can automatically improve by itself. So this is a very good example of machine learning. This is used in healthcare industry. So based on this is the identification of skin cancer, okay, whether your skin cancer is normal or it is highly serious. So with the help of the skin thickness, uniform size, margin adherency, based on all these characteristics, your machine can identify whether this skin cancer is highly severe or it is normal one. Okay, so before that we have to apply training data. Here I am applying 10 rows of data, and these are all the data taken from various patients. So first one is benign, malignant, benign, malignant. So from the training data, your machine learning model can learn itself, and it can model, it can build the new model. Based on that, it can give the answer here. So if clump size is 6,117,1311, it is benign. Okay, it is normal one. So here accuracy is 89% only. So if you want to improve this accuracy, we have to provide more number of data set. Okay, because here I'm giving only 10 rows. We have to collect data from more patients, from more hospitals, then only we can get the more accuracy. So we have some real life examples also: Netflix, Amazon, chatbots. Already we have explained, and these are all the various algorithms. First important technique is regression, estimation. So this estimation technique is mainly used for predicting continuous values. Classification, if the in healthcare industry, these are all, this particular person is under normal category and this particular patient is under severe category. So this categorization can be done with the help of classification and clustering, association. So these are all various algorithms by machine learning. So here we can consider very good example, that is CO2 emission. And before that, these are the two types of machine learning: supervised and unsupervised. We can consider very good example. Supervised learning is same as classroom teaching. Suppose if I am the professor, I am taking particular class. Based on the knowledge only, you are going to write down the exam. Okay, so this is supervised. Unsupervised, in unsupervised learning, they won't be having professors and teachers. So you have to take the book and you have to learn by itself. You have to learn by yourself. Based on your learning, whatever you are learned from the past experience and the past notes, you have to write on the exam. So this is same for supervised and unsupervised. In supervised machine learning, input data is labeled. Okay, in previous slides we have seen no clump, uniform size, uniform shape. So this is labeled data set. But in unsupervised learning, we don't have labels data set. Only we will providing input. Based on that input, that machine can be automatically learned. And uses training data set. So we have to identify this is training data set, this is testing data set. But in unsupervised, it is not required. And the supervised learning is mainly used for prediction. Okay, in 2020-21, what is the CO2 emission by this particular car? and what are all the areas affected by COVID virus. So this prediction we can do. And unsupervised learning is mainly used for analysis purpose only. Okay, how many number of people are affected by COVID-19 in this area, and next area how many number of people are affected. So mainly used for analysis, and here types are regression and classification. In unsupervised, we are having clustering and association. So already we have seen, and these are all the various applications. So if you are considering classification, fraud detection, this is mainly used in financial institution, email spam, already we have seen. And regression, risk assessment, score prediction, okay. And clustering, this clustering is mainly used for targeted marketing, digital marketing industry, and also used in healthcare industry. So these are all the various algorithms provided by supervised learning, linear regression, and random forest. Support vector mission. The support vector mission is mainly used for classification. And logistic regression, this is also one of the important algorithm. So we can conclude whether this particular student is pass or he is getting fail mark, okay, or this particular cricketer is winning or losing, okay. So this future prediction we can do, or this patient is in alive condition or dead condition, healthy or sick, okay, either this or this, that is logistic regression. So we can come to the conclusion with the help of this logistic regression, and this is the unsupervised learning. So we don't have any labeled data, only we want to provide input data, okay, based on the past experience and already provided training data set, your machine can come to the conclusion, okay. So this is apple, and these are oranges, these are peaches. So this is unsupervised learning. And clustering, we have k-means algorithm. This k-means algorithm is mainly used for Gaussian process, dbScan. So in dbScan, we can group the data based on density, okay. And this is also mainly used for healthcare industry, hierarchical clustering. And reinforcement learning, this is third type of machine learning algorithm, okay. So based on the rewards and based on punishment, your machine learning can learn, okay. For example, this is mainly useful for self-driven car. So in case of self-driven car, it has to obey the traffic rules. So suppose if it does not obey the traffic rules, there will be some punishment, okay. So based on that punishment, your machine can take the decision. So based on the previous actions and based on the rewards and punishment, decision will be taken here. And these are all real life examples. So this is the example I'm going to explain here. Regression technique. So these are all the cars data, engine size, cylinder, fuel consumption, and CO2 emission. So in 2021, if new car is arriving the market, what is the possible CO2 emission by the new car? Okay, so regression technique is mainly used for predicting continuous value. For this method, we are using regression. We have two types, simple linear and multiple linear regression. So what is meant by simple linear regression? Okay, so if you are performing prediction with respect to only one independent variable, here I am estimating CO2, carbon dioxide value with respect to engine size only. I am taking only one independent variable, simple independent variable. So it is known as simple linear regression. Suppose if I am taking all the independent variables, engine size, cylinder, fuel consumption, that is known as multiple linear regression. So in simple linear regression, we are predicting the CO2 emission with respect to engine size only. Only one parameter I am considering. So we have some mathematical approaches also here. So here for each and every value, we have to draw the scatter plot. So you no need to draw the scatter plot. Okay, so with the help of Python program or with the help of pandas and NumPy library, it can automatically build this scatter plot. So when engine size is 2.0, CO2 emission is 196. Okay, so based on that, we have to put the dot. So similarly for all 1060, according to my CSV file, I have 1066 rows. So based on all values, we have to draw the scatter plot. So here our job is to find out the value for 9th row. Okay, because this 9th row value is unknown one. This 9th row CO2 emission we don't know. I am going to predict this 9th row value. So here I have to draw the best line. Okay, best line. So according to 9th row, your engine size is 2.4. Okay. So if I am, please look at this red color point. If engine size is 2.4, my emission value is 214. So this is the predicted value, 214. But here some problem is, here I am drawing the line in this center. If I am giving this job to some other engineer, that particular engineer tries to draw the line somewhere. Okay, so the value will be 215 or 220. So value will be varied. We cannot get the accurate value. Okay, so here our job is to, we have to draw the straight line equation. We know that equation for straight line is y equal to mx plus c. Same equation I am writing, but only coefficients are I am changing. Theta naught plus theta 1 into x1. So our job is to calculate theta naught and theta 1. Okay. So based on some mathematical equations, I can calculate theta naught and theta 1. So this is the job done by machine learning algorithm. Okay, this is very good example for machine learning. And this program is, this algorithm is mainly implemented in car industry, manufacturing industry for predicting future CO2 emission. Okay, so here I have to find theta naught and theta 1 based on formula. For example, we can consider the actual value is 250. Carbon dioxide value is 250. Suppose if I am predicting the value as 340, we have some error. 250 minus 340 minus 90. So I have 90 units. So accuracy is very less. Okay, so we are not up to the actual value because our prediction is 340. So in order to solve this problem, first of all, we need to calculate theta naught and theta 1 based on this formula. So this formula can be automatically solved by NumPy. Okay, NumPy equation. You no need to write any complex program for this particular theta 1 equation. And here we have to take mean value also. So suppose if I am using 8 rows or 9 rows, based on that you have to do the calculation. So here I have calculated theta 1 equal to 39. Based on the theta 1 value, we can solve theta naught value also. So now we know theta naught value, theta 1 value. Just to try to substitute theta naught and theta 1 in this prediction, that is y equation. Okay, so y cap equal to theta naught 125.74 plus theta 1 is 39. Okay, into x1. What is x1? The engine size which is present in 9th row. Okay, so based on that we can find out the CO2 prediction. So according to my program and according to my mathematical formula, my CO2 emission is 218. Okay, actual value is 214, but my predicted value is 218. So there is around 90% accuracy. So here important thing is we have to find theta. Yes, ma'am. So this is the way of implementing machine learning program. So you have to write down the programming coding also with the help of this machine learning algorithm. We have to separate the training data and test data. Okay, if you are having some 100 rows, 80 rows can be allotted for training data and the remaining 20 rows can be allotted for testing data set. Okay, so this is working with Google Colab. First of all, you need to install Python in your desktop. Okay, so in the Python, you have to go for Jupyter Notebook. In Jupyter Notebook only, you have to write down this machine learning program. Suppose if you are not installed Python program, you can work this machine learning program in internet also. So just in Google search bar, you have to type Colab, Google Colab. Here, welcome to Colaboratory. Here you have to click this plus code symbol. Okay, so here you can write down the program and you can run the program. And before that, you have to upload your CSV file. Here you have to upload the CSV file. Okay, this rectangular box you have to click, upload your CSV file. So based on your CSV file Excel sheet, you can do any machine learning program. So this is the way of implementing Jupyter Notebook. Just in command box, just to type Jupyter Notebook and give enter. This is your Jupyter Notebook environment. And here you have to type the program. And before that, you have to upload your CSV file and click on new, where you can find Python. Okay, Python 3. By clicking this Python 3, you can type the program. Okay, so this is the way of implementing machine learning program with the help of Python commands. So you should have clear idea about Python libraries, Python programming language, machine learning concept, and also you should have some mathematical oriented knowledge also. That's all.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, madam. So I will take
Yes,
next a
sir.
couple of minutes to go through about our I4.0 training program. Then we can
Yes,
open
sir.
for question and answer session, madam. We have a lot of questions. Yeah,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Take your own time, sir.
sure. Yeah. So, yeah. So we understood the importance about data science and artificial intelligence from Dr. Sarita, madam, and an absolutely essential component for I4.0. And in fact, this is most happening technology adoption by many companies. IoT to generate data and leverage data science to predict the data, and they use artificial intelligence to take actions like human being. Okay, now a small information to everyone. I think all of you want to get into a good job, right? And the budding students after the graduation, yes, you want to get into 5 lakhs, 10 lakh job, and as well as working professionals, you want to get into most lucrative field. And absolutely, I4.0 is the right choice for all of you. And this is the indicative salary details you can find from the internet, right? So if you put any component from I4.0, it is more than 6-7 lakhs per annum. Yeah. And even for a couple of technologies like blockchain, the salaries, it will go up to 30 lakhs. If you take data, you can put yourself and find the data from the internet. I'm talking only about Indian job market. I'm not talking about international job market. It will be in dollars, right? The question is how best we can leverage, the latest happening from the industry. Okay. And a small question to all of you: if you want to attend these technologies independently or individually, okay, this is the money you have to pay to the current players from the market, right? Close to 4.5 lakhs to 5 lakhs. And again, if you see this, the credibility of the training institute probably recently started unknown institutions, but we are in the industry for last 4 years, and we are serious I4.0 consulting and product development company. As per our customers' willingness, we started this training initiative. Having said that, okay, we are launching this entire program. Not even 10% of the total fees you are going to pay to the open players from the market. It's only 49,000 introductory offer, right? And as part of this program, you are going to get 130 hours training program, 90 hours to cover all 9 industry components, and 40 hours for one chosen component like data science or artificial intelligence blockchain, and also internship project. You are going to get internship certificate, right? And also these certificates are affiliated by or accredited by Crescent University. Yeah. So in fact, the next page is going to start by first week of Jan, and we are getting a lot of registration. We have limitation on each batch size. So I would recommend if any one of you interested to get into this I4.0, probably you can register your slot, and you'll be more than happy to be part of your success story. Yeah. And you can find the payment link from the website, our website. Also, if you have any problem, you try to reach us through the phone number as well as the mail ID. Yeah. So fine. So now we can get into the question answer session, participants. So we got a couple of questions. Yeah. Yeah. So any questions? In fact, one Mr. 1 minute, madam.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mr. There is a question from I'm not able to pronounce his name. What is the difference between AI, ML, and DL?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, in AI, we are making the computer or we are making the machine to act exactly like human intelligence. Actually, AI and ML both are interconnected one. Without ML, we cannot do AI. So AI involves machine learning algorithms. With the help of machine learning algorithms only, we are doing AI. So the difference between AI and ML is in AI, we are creating the machine exactly same as human intelligence. But in ML, we are trying to implement some algorithm for a future prediction and for estimation purpose. and for identifying the disease, whether this disease is severe or it is normal one. Okay, and also for estimating continuous value. We can use it for drug identification also for this particular person, whether drug A must be prescribed or drug B must be prescribed. For this healthcare industry, for this medical prescription, we can go for machine learning. But AI is same as human intelligence. For example, the Sophia robot, and here we have Amazon Alexa also. So we can connect some interconnect some smart devices with AI, and it can be used for some general purpose only, not cannot be used for some specific on medical oriented task. But both are interconnected only. AI, ML, and even deep learning, all are interconnected only. With the help of ML only, we can achieve AI concept.
Fantastic, madam. So I think the participant, you got answer for the question. If you're not satisfied, you can ask other questions. We are more than happy to answer. And there is question from Anisha. Sir, ma'am, can you share the PPT, please? As
Yes,
part
sir,
of
sure,
the,
sir.
yeah. In fact, as part of this, our commitment to the student as a working professional, and we are uploading all recorded webinar into the website. You can go to the Future Connect website and go to the event page, and you can enjoy reading all our webinars free of cost. Okay. This session is recorded. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I will give you, sir.
Thank you very much, madam. And there is a question from Mr. Anand Dixit. I recently graduated as an automobile engineer. Is ML and AI beneficial to me?
Exactly, sir. 100%, sir. Because in automobile industry, we are using ML for many purposes. For example, here I have explained CO2 emission. So with the help of machine learning only, we can predict any new things, sir. Even we can go for future prediction, forecasting, whether this mission life is extended for 10 years or 15 years. That prediction can be done by this machine learning only. So for automobile industry also, this machine learning and knowledge of data science will be highly useful.
Fantastic, madam. Good. I think hope Mr. Yeah. There is a question from D. Yobu. Madam, share the PPT. Mr. Yobu, you can find the recorded session from our website. Yeah, you can enjoy the end-to-end session in seamless manner, right? And there is a question from Bhargavi. Sir, I have a network problem, so I am reconnecting now. You send any Google form in message. Thank you. Yes, Bhargavi will do that one. And there is a question from Abenia. What are all the AI applications in the field of genomics or in bioinformatics?
Yes, sir. Sir, in bioinformatics, we are having more number of applications in AI. For example, nowadays we are affected by COVID-19 virus. So we cannot have that fingerprint technology. So already we have, if we are having fingerprint technology in the particular college or in particular company, based on the previous data, your machine can understand. So these are all the persons coming today. These are all the persons absent in this particular day. So this can be really useful for bioinformatics also. So it can compare the already available data with new data.
Fantastic. I think
Yes,
hope this answers to Abhinaya question. And there is a question from Mr. G.G. Pillai. Are there any automation possible for feature selection? Could you please show some sample codes?
So sample codes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Are there any automation possible for feature selection? Could you please show some sample codes?
Sample codes are already available, sir. So if you want to get the sample codes, that particular person has to refer your Future Connect website, sir.
Fantastic. Yeah. So please go to the Future Connect and get the sample code. And there is a question from Mr. Subhash Tree. What is the data structure for Python?
Yeah, very good question, sir. Sir, we have more number of data structures in Python. First
Right.
important one is list, tuples, because this list can be used for manipulating dynamic arrays. Tuples we have, and we have dictionary also. So in dictionary, we can combine the characters, numbers, strings, everything we can combine inside the dictionary. So list, tuples, dictionary, and a string, bytes, next byte array. So these are all the various data structures, and popular data structures are list, tuples, and dictionary. Because with the help of this list, tuples, and dictionary, we can implement any kind of machine learning algorithm. So these are the important data structures: list, tuples, and dictionary.
Fantastic, fantastic. And there is question from Abhirami. R programming or Python, which one better to learn for machine learning, ma'am?
Python only, sir. Because in Python, for each and every function, we are having a library function. For example, if I want to write down equation for straight line y equal to mx plus c, that equation function is already available in NumPy. So no need to write down separate program for that y equal to mx plus c. Suppose if it is R, we have to write down some separate program. So all complicated functions cannot be performed by R. So best choice is Python only, because it consists of more number of libraries, and the data visualization is also possible in Python when compared with R, because here we have histogram plot, we have bar chart, even we can go for scatter plot also. So we can apply for healthcare industry, automobile, and any kind of industry. So Python is best choice there.
Yes, thank you, madam. And there is information from Mr. Ravi Shankar to all participants, and there is feedback link given by Future Connect. Please fill the form, and you can get the e-certificate after that. And there is a question from Abhinaya. Is there any specific AI application for drug discovery, protein interaction, protein ligand interaction studies?
Yes, sir. We can go for support vector machine because AI is interconnecting with machine learning only. So we can choose support vector machine algorithm, because this SVM algorithm can perform both classification and regression. So with the help of this classification, we can identify what is the suitable drug for this particular patient. So that identification we can do with the help of SVM, that is support vector machine algorithm.
Fantastic, fantastic. Yeah. So any other question, participants? Okay, Dr. Sarita is one of the faculty from our side. In fact, for each and every technology like blockchain or IoT, we have doctorates and postdoctorates who will be deliver the session. So apart from getting the certificate, in fact, the engineering students or even other students can leverage the capstone project at the final semester of the project to fulfill the degree requirements like BTech, MTech, and even the PhD. I'm not sure about PhD, but definitely for BTech and MTech, right? So that you can get multiple benefits from the course. Yeah. So meantime, can we hear questions from other participants if you have any? Fantastic. So we'll wait for a couple of minutes, so then we can wind up. Meantime, I have one question, madam, from my side. Recently, I did R certification from NIPTL delivered by IIT Kanpur.
Yes.
And in fact, I cleared the certification. What I understand, by leveraging R language, we can leverage statistical concept in much better manner than Python. Is my understanding correct or not correct, madam?
Pardon, sir. One more time, sir.
Yeah. Recently I completed R certification from R language certification from IIT Kanpur. And what I understood from my personal perspective, when you compare Python and R got lot of statistical oriented feature, and you can develop a highly statistical oriented program from R comparing with Python. And that is my understanding. Is my understanding correct or wrong, madam?
Yes, sir. Exactly correct, sir. Because in R we are having more applications related to the statistics, sir.
Statistics, okay.
Yes, sir.
But for normal usage, Python is sufficient. Only for extraordinary case, we need to go for R language.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. In healthcare industry, for normal prediction and estimation purpose, we can go for this Python programming, sir.
Fantastic. And there is question from D. Yobu, difference between data science and AI.
Sir, there is no much difference between data science and AI because already I told you AI is the mimic of human intelligence by computer, but data science is completely different because in data science we are trying to get the useful information like bar chart, scatter plot, how this area is affected. So we are trying to get useful information from the unstructured data. So the conversion of structured data into unstructured data is main important thing is in data science. So data science is mainly used for manipulation and analysis of large volume of data. It is related to data only, but AI is related to human intelligence. Whatever we are thinking, because when new problem is raised, we are trying to solve that particular problem. So AI is related to our human being. The data science is some technology for getting useful information from the
Very good. Yeah. And there is a question from Subhashree. What are the algorithms for R programming and Python?
algorithms for Python. There is no specific algorithm, sir. But for Python, we have to concentrate on data structures and important libraries. So we have around 7 data structures in Python, that is list, tuple, dictionary, and so on. And also we have NumPy, Pandas, SciPy, scikit-learn, Matplotlib. These are all the libraries available in Python. So in Python, we have only data structures and library and the special coding. We don't have any algorithms in Python, sir. Python is programming language. It is like C, C++ only. In machine learning only, we are having different algorithms, and deep learning, we have different algorithms. But in Python, we don't have any algorithms, sir. Only thing we need to concentrate on data structure and library available, sir.
Fantastic, madam. Very good answer, madam. So what I understand, this is my thinking process, madam. So when we develop the machine learning model by using, by leveraging Python, okay, that time we need to call the relevant algorithm like regression algorithm or,
Yes,
other algorithms, right? Yeah.
yes, sir. So based on the nature of problem only, we have to choose the particular algorithm, sir, because we have linear regression, classification, clustering. Based on the nature of problem, we have to choose the particular algorithm, and based on that, we have to type the program. And
Cool,
wherever we want, we can call the library functions also. So we no need to write down a external program for particular equation. If there is any complicated equation, we can call NumPy, sir.
Very good, very good. There is a question from Abhinaya. Does big data using ML?
Yes, sir.
The question is, does big data using ML?
Yes, sir, we can do, because we can implement any data science oriented technique with the help of machine learning. So big data can also be done by machine learning concept.
Fantastic. Good answer, madam. And information to all participants. Tomorrow morning, we have a session for working professional. So in the session, we are going to explain how 9 different technologies are getting implemented for a typical manufacturing company from India. Okay. So if you get a time, try to attend the session. You are going to get end-to-end implementation perspective. Okay. So that session, I'm going to touch upon how big data, machine learning, IoT going to work together. Yeah. Any other question from the participants? Thank you. In fact, as part of our company initiative, madam, we are developing a solution consisting of IoT, cloud, and machine learning. Right? It is almost 60% completed. So probably we need your help to complete this machine learning product development, madam.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Yeah. It is meant for micro and medium industries from India, the small players. We want to deliver this digital technology at the doorstep to empower them. Yeah, I think there is no more question. We can wind up the session. And our sincere thanks to Dr. N. Sarita for your excellent presentation and insight. And we are sure that it is going to be helpful to all participants and even to us. Okay, sincere thanks to you, madam. And thanks to all participants for attending this session. Hope the session was of some useful to you. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
madam. Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes, sir. Thank you, everyone, sir.